and welcome to Concert Pipeline. I'm Steve Jones. Today on the program, we have a band called Bluphoria. I had a chance to talk to Reign LaFreniere from Bluphoria, for the podcast. So we had a good chat. We're going to get to that in just a little bit. Before we do, I'll catch you up on what's going on in my world. It's been a busy weekend. I took a 4-day weekend and did some driving, went up to Nevada to see the Foo Fighters, which I was overall pretty excited about. I mean, I'm a big Foo Fighters fan. I mean, anyone who's follows the show will know that. We talk about Dave Grohl at the end of just about every episode in some capacity. And so, yeah, I was excited for the show. And I was really most excited to see Foo Fighters do a headlining set and that I wouldn't have to go deal with Outside Lands bullshit. So glad for that, because I don't know. The thing about Outside Lands that really gets me, I've never been to an Outside Lands yet. Most of the band names are unpronounceable and I don't know them. Maybe that means I'm out of touch, but they're not bands that orbit in my sphere, so to speak, right? And so when I heard Foo Fighters was doing Outside Lands, at first I was like, okay, cool, that's great, not too far. But there was a wave of stress along with that too, because I don't want to go to Golden Gate Park. I don't want to park anywhere near Golden Gate Park when there's 100,000 people there around, and then deal with getting out of Golden Gate Park after Foo Fighters is over at the very end, traffic getting on the freeway to get back home, and getting at home at an ungodly hour, in the morning, where, I hopefully make it back in one piece, because I don't do well with late night driving. Getting old, I know my lane and I try and stay in it, right? So, but I do it for Foo Fighters. I would do it to see them. And so luckily, a couple of days before the Outside Lands tickets went on sale, the Foo Fighters announced that they were playing in Salt Lake Tahoe, and at State Line. And I'm like, oh, that's great. And I was able to actually get tickets when they went on sale, and they sold out really quickly. So I was like, awesome, super great, right? Still a multi-hour trip, but like 3 hours, because I ended up going to visit my friend Colleen, who lives in Nevada, and I went to the show with her. So we hung out for a bit. We hit a brewery called Shoe Tree in the area where she lives, which was fun. That was a cool hang. We got some pizza, and then we made our way toward State Line. And getting to State Line hanging was where things started to go in a direction they probably shouldn't have. So I'll say it. I like a good a drink here and there, a beer. Once in a while a margarita. I'm not much of a wine drinker, but I can do a drink here and there. I don't do weed very often at all, but when visiting a friend and she wanted to hit a dispensary, we did, and then sat in the car with and took a 10 milligram gummy and had a tall boy, a little something Lagunitas. I was hammered. I was just spent, right? Like, I told her at a time, I was like, 10 milligrams is too much. 7.5 is about where I should max, right? And she's like, just eat the whole thing, just do it, whatever. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm not driving, and and I had nowhere to be the next morning is exactly until I needed to get my puppy from the border, right? So that was a mistake, because all that excitement that had built up to the concert was not there anymore. There's a band called the Breeders that opened for the Foo Fighters. They've been around for like 30 years also, so have some tenure along with Foo Fighters, and they were fine from what I remember. Dave Grohl came out, I think, on one song near the end, and played a little bit with them, which was cool. And then there was the break in between, and we'd gotten in line and gotten sandwiches and water, like chicken and sandwiches. So I'd had a chicken sandwich, and then I was like, I'm still hungry. Oh man, that chicken sandwich. It was a garbage chicken sandwich. It was not great, right? But anything at that moment was like, food, give me food. And so I went back in line and got another overpriced bottle of water and another chicken sandwich, and had this chicken sandwich and immediately regretted that decision. So that was not great. My stomach was in pain. Not excruciating pain, but I was not comfortable. And so I sat down, waited for Foo Fighters to come on. I was like, "Am I going to even make it?" I was tired. I didn't want to miss it. I wanted to be there for Foo Fighters, and was so excited to see the show, but so not, and ready for it to be done, and just to be late to lay down and fall asleep. Also, so that happened. Foo Fighters came on. It was exciting. I stood up, and I enjoyed what I remember of the show. But the in between periods where I think maybe some of the songs had slowed down, I was standing and my eyes were closed, and I was barely awake, barely there. I was a standing zombie for the concert. I did manage to record a couple of songs, so I think we should play one of the songs from the Foo Fighters set at State Line. Let's go ahead and let's play "Learn to Fly," because I was certainly flying at the concert. So here it is.
This could take all night. Think I need a devil to help me get things right. We'll be up a new revolution. This one is alive. We sat around like I watched the last one time. All right, here we go, ready? Look into the sky, shaded. Looking for a sign of light. Looking for something to help me burn out light. Looking for a complication. Looking till the time trying. Make my way back home and come on, let's go. Think I'm done nursing patience. It can wait one night. Giving on away if you give me one last try. Will it back? Will you ever try? If you just save my life. Running to the edges of everything. Alright, let's do it. Look into the sky, shaded. Looking for a sign of light. Looking for something to help me burn out right. Looking for a complication. Looking till the time trying. Make my way back home and learn to fly. Make my way back home. Here we go. Flying along with it. Can't quite make it alone. Trying to make this life my own. Flying along with it. Can't quite make it alone. Trying to make this nice out. Look into the sky, shaded. Looking for a sign of light. Looking for something to help me burn out right. Looking for a complication. Looking till the time to try it. Make my way back home and learn to fly. Make my way back home. Woo! Make my way back home. All right.
That was "Learn to Fly" by the Foo Fighters here at Concert Pipeline. We'll play one more song at the end of the program, also to wind out the show from the set, because it was, again, a rare opportunity to get to see one of my favorite bands that I squashed and kind of ruined. also went with Colleen, as I mentioned, and she wanted to stand next to her boss and his wife, which was, I'm like, I am not at my most presentable right now. Like, this is not the side of me that I want shown to other people that, my good friend respects. Yeah, I don't know. It didn't work. Luckily, there was music playing for most of it, so I could kind of just fade in the background. But they saw that something was not great, right? They were like, "Oh, this guy, huh? Yeah, this is your friend. Cool, good work." Yeah. So, so we did that. We finished. Actually, we didn't finish the concert. We left at like 10:30. I think the show probably ended at 11, but she was okay leaving. I was at that point good to go. I didn't want to sit on the fourth floor of the parking garage for 20-30 minutes getting out of the parking garage while people were fighting to get out. So I was like, okay, I've seen the Foo Fighters before. I'll be okay. Let's just get out and go. Right. So we did. And we headed back to Colleen's house where I crashed overnight. And then the next morning, ran a couple miles, got my exercise in, and then headed out of town. Luckily, made a stop to get donuts on the way out of town because at the donut shop I realized I had Colleen's license and her credit card that had been in my wallet, and it would have still been in my wallet if I were driving home. Um, so made it through to through the show, and opted. I'm not going to do that again anytime soon. And I'm going to stay the course and know my limits and make sure if I'm there to enjoy a show, I'm going to enjoy the show. That's just what I got to do, right? So that was the Foo Fighters show, and then yesterday was my buddy Joe's son's 8th birthday, and that's my son's best friend also. So we went over to their house, and it was great. I mean, it was just a lot of fun. They always get a water slide for their son for his birthday, just have it on their property. And this time the water slide guy was like, "Hey, I got an extra bouncy house and cotton candy machine that no one's using. If you want to have those on the house, because you guys are so cool and do this every year." And so they're like, "Okay, sure." So there was a bouncy house too, and took my son, and he had a great time. He was on that water slide all throughout the day. I mean, he just loved it, right? He was having so much fun. And then there were water balloons mixed in, and in the bouncy house, they took water balloons in the bouncy house, and Joe and I were having fun. Also, we bounced in the bouncy house and wrestled in the pool at the bottom of the water slide, which was funny. He has wrestling experience. I do not. I very much lost, but it was fun, and just had good hangs with family. I mean, it wasn't a big birthday by any stretch of the imagination or anything. I mean, there were only a handful of kids, and their families, and my buddy Joe is like family to me. So I mean, we're just hanging out with family. So that was a lot of fun as well. Really enjoyed it. So that's kind of what went down. A good weekend overall, and then we have a couple of interviews and shows lined up coming in the coming weeks. So that's going to be exciting. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Why don't we go ahead and bring Bluphoria in? Again, I had a chance to talk to Reign. He grew up in Northern California, which is pretty cool. So we'll get to talk about that a little bit. And so much more. So here is my interview with Reign from Bluphoria. How's your day treating you, Reign?
Good. It's just started. Got the day off, so that's always good. How about yours?
No complaints there. Yeah, it's good here. It's cooler in the mornings and warming up in the afternoons, so it's like almost 100. I'm outside Sacramento, so
Really?
it gets hot. It gets hot, So
yeah. My grandparents live in Lincoln, but
say it again.
My grandparents live in Lincoln, so
oh yeah.
I've experienced that.
Yeah, it's 110 is not abnormal out of Lincoln for sure. So yeah. Do you get to visit them a lot?
Yeah, I go about once a year, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, they have some good shows out there at Thunder Valley and around around that area. I go to some
Yeah, yeah.
with a buddy out there sometimes. So
I definitely have to hang out there a lot more.
yeah, you're from NorCal, but you don't live here anymore, right?
No, yeah, I live in Nashville at the moment.
Yeah, and how are you liking Nashville?
I love it so far. I got to get used to the humidity and the thunderstorms, but other than that, it's been it's been good.
Yeah, it's got a pretty good music scene, right? Like, I mean, tell
Yeah.
me kind of about what vibe you're getting from the music scene and kind of the shows that you've been able to get to out there.
Yeah. I it's just like there's a lot of talented musicians here, and there's a really big underground, like, I guess it's not too underground now, but a rock scene growing here, and every band that I've met so far has just been, you know, really top notch, and it's very inspiring to see. Um, like the bare minimum here is to be talented, and that's, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Have you been to Grand Ole Opry?
I have not. I've been outside of it. I've like walked around that area, but I just went to the Ryman for the first time actually a couple days ago, and that was pretty cool.
Yeah, who do you see there?
I saw the Turtles in the Cowsills, and yeah, a buddy of mine is related to the Cowsills, so we got to go there for free and and watch them play. Yeah.
It's always a good price, right? So
Mhm.
yeah, you played Brooklyn Bowl the other day, right?
We did, yeah.
How was that show?
It was good. It was really interesting. When I first got the email of like them asking us to play, I was like, I think this is a mistake. Like, it's like y'all want us to play Brooklyn Bowl, um, and they wanted us to like headline it, and I was like, okay, it'll be pretty fun. But they got a cool setup there, great sound, like great people there working that venue, and it was just a good time. I had a bunch of friends come out, and it was just a very like, we're here hanging out type situation, and yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Um, so tell me a little bit about your start kind of back at the beginning. Tell me about what music was on in your house as a kid. What were your parents playing? What were you into?
Yeah. I had a lot of music growing up, just around me, and like a very eclectic thing going on, because my mom used to be in an R&B group in the 90s, so heard a lot of R&B, and she was a big Bob Marley fan, so Bob Marley was always on. And then my uncle was in Souls of Mischief, so I'd always hear all the 90s rap as well, and my dad was always into 90s rap, and then he would play Creedence Clearwater Revival all the time, and there's just this mix of like 80s rock, Creedence, and then Fleetwood Mac, and then a bunch of 90s and R&B. So I got a bunch of music impacting me,
Yeah, yeah. Were you in bands in high school? Like, tell me kind of what that vibe was like for you.
Yeah, I wasn't in a band in high school. I tried very hard to be in one, and it never worked out. I went to a lot of open mics. We would just play solo for a lot of that. I was in a middle school band called the Pixelated Penguins, though. We were pretty good. The
I
cover
like
band.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I wore a fedora, it was a whole thing. I hope nobody finds that picture anywhere. I'm keeping all the fedora phases locked up right now.
Oh, not pulling it back out, huh?
Can't maybe for one show I'll pop out with the the middle school fit.
Pixelated Pixies reunion show. There you
Yeah,
go.
exactly. But yeah, I just was an open mic guy until college is when I initially was like, okay, I gotta start a band. I can't keep floating around like this. I have ideas that I need to need to share.
Yeah. And how'd that look in college? Like, did you match with other people in like the music department, or where did you find people to start a band?
I first, went to another open mic and ran into another band there, and he like the guy was just like, like, if you get a band together, you can play our house show in a month. And I was like, oh, okay. So I literally just went up to like anybody who played an instrument that I knew. I would just run into them. I was like, do you play bass? Do you play drums? Like, what's your situation? And they'd be like, yeah, like I'm down to be in a band, and we'd go into like the common area of one of the dorms and just we were rotated like 3 people to get a band going for that house show. Um, and that was pretty much how it started until I met Dakota, Rex, and Danny.
Yeah. And when did you pick up the guitar?
Probably early high school. I was only a singer in the middle school band, so
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. I after that I decided I wanted to play guitar because I actually wanted to play because I played The Last of Us, that video game,
Uh-huh.
and
Yeah. Yeah.
I loved the soundtrack of that, and I was like, I'm gonna learn how to play those songs. So that's how it all started.
It's awesome. I'm guessing you like the show then too, right? So
Yeah, the show was great. Love Pedro.
he's great. Yeah. He's awesome. And so did you teach yourself? Did you take lessons?
Yeah, no, I just taught myself, and then would, the occasional YouTube video, and I did try to go to lessons. I think I went to one lesson when I first started, and then since then it was just like I was just figuring it out.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's cool. And so tell me kind of about you mentioned Dakota, and how did you meet Dakota?
I was up in Oregon, and I was at a house show, and Oregon's not known for its diversity, I'd say. I was at a house show, and Dakota walks in, and he goes, "Hey, another black guy," and just like walks past. And I talked to him for a little bit at that show, and then afterwards, I asked him if he played guitar because I wanted another guitarist. Uh, and he was like, "I do. Not the kind you play though." And I was like, what does that mean? Like, how does he know what kind of guitar I play? Like, I don't think this kid knows me. And he was like, "I play blues guitar." And I was like, "Okay, that's perfect. That's exactly the kind of guitar I play." And we got to jamming. And we had like a 3-piece with another buddy of ours for a second, under Bluphoria still. And then ran into Rex because he saw one of our shows, and then immediately, like the day later, I saw him on Instagram. He came to rehearse and he joined the band that day. And Danny like wanted to do a podcast on me, so I joined her for a podcast, and a year later, like stars aligned. We're moving on to another drummer, and she was like, "Can I join the band?" And it all worked out.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And I understand the name of the band was a non-negotiable, like it had to be Bluphoria, right?
Yeah. I had a premonition, so I have to use it.
Yeah. And have you felt the premonition come true? Yeah.
Uh, Depends. I feel like I'm trying, it's like a billboard thing. So like I feel like if I pull some strings, I definitely could get that going, but I want to save it, until I really know that things are working out. Cause then, I don't want to jinx the premonition by having it happen too early, and then and then that's it. My peak is the billboard.
We're like, we got the billboard. We can wrap this thing up. We're done.
Yeah, they're like, and that's it. No more billboard.
Yeah, does Dakota know he's just in until we get the billboard?
Then until billboard launch, and then everyone goes home.
They have to make it their mission to not get the billboard so the band maintains.
If I hear the billboard thing, I'm like, we're not ready yet. I'm like, don't no billboard. Shut it down.
Just hold out. Yeah. Yeah. So where in Northern California did you live?
San Francisco Bay. Yeah.
Okay.
I've kind of moved around the Bay. I lived in San Jose, San Leandro, Milpitas, Fremont. Like went to high school in San Francisco, and yeah, just full on Bay Area kid.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I've lived in the Bay all my life, so yeah. I went to San Francisco State, all of that. So
right on.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about let's talk about the album a little bit, right? So it came out in January of last year, or that was when you recorded it.
Yeah, we recorded it in January of 2022. Yeah, and released it in May.
Right, and you recorded with Mark Needham. Tell me about him and how you got together with him.
Mark's great. I mean, it was kind of wild. We were looking for producers. My label was like, give me a list of producers you'd want. And I was like, let me just reach for the sky on this one. I'm gonna just keep going as high as I can. And at first I tried to get Lenny Kravitz, you know. I was like, can you find Lenny? And they're like, we cannot find Lenny. He's gone. He's in the Bahamas. And then I tried, you know, the guy from the Black Pumas. I was really just going, you know, wherever I could. And then my label had like some kind of correspondence with Mark, and he reached out and he was like, oh, I want to work with them, like can we set up a call with Reign? And so I got on a call with him. I told him what our idea was for the album, and he was like, oh, I'm excited to do it, like let's do it. And he was honestly the perfect presence to have on our first studio album. Like, we're all very new to like being in a studio. Like, we had done it before, but this time it was like we had to get used to the click track. We had to like just completely learn a new game, you know what I mean? And he was very patient and had a lot of knowledge. And one of his biggest messages for us was just like, if you have an idea, try it out. You know, like, we already have the studio time. It's already slotted out. You know, it's either a bad idea or it's a really good one. You know, we try everything and we pick the best thing, because we'd always get stuck on like, what should this song be? What should it sound like? How should it turn out? And the best way to do it was just us just like throwing things at the wall, and any idea that came to us, we're like, this, you know, let's hear it out.
Yeah. Did you go in with a bunch of songs written already, or like what did you take into the studio when you went
Yeah, we pretty much came to the studio with like all the songs 80% done. Like in the only songs that didn't need like major tweaks were like, or there was only one song that needed major tweaks, and that was Set Me Up, because Set Me Up came in as like this indie ballad, soft indie ballad, and we were like, let's make it angrier.
That was your angry breakup song on the album, right? So
exactly. Yeah. At first I was just like, set me up. It's like, no, you gotta start screaming, dude. Like, what are you doing?
Get some emotion in there. Come on, right?
So other than that, but that was our newest song going into it. So that's we already knew. We were like, this song's like probably 60%, and we gotta like change a bunch of stuff for it. But Mark was also perfect for that as well. Like, yeah. Was there anything you were kind of precious about that you pushed back on, that you're like, no, this has to be in there? Yeah, no, there was it was Pretty People, and it's rhythm specifically. Like, I really wanted to do that Dreams, like kind of like bass hit, like just get that groove going. And Mark had worked with Fleetwood Mac before as well. And at first, you know, they were like, you know, we should try this out and that. I was like, no. I was like, this song has to be like that. Like, this rhythm is important to me. It was that and something more. Like, they tried to change like the chorus or something. I was like, no. We gotta, like, it's gotta be this way, or I can't sing it. It's gonna screw up the whole vibe.
Yeah. And you have Believe in Love on there. That's your California rock song, right? So that you're going for. So tell me kind of about pulling that one together.
That one was actually interesting. We went down to LA to meet with the label upon us like getting signed, and we were staying in this beach house, like somewhere in Newport Beach. And I remember we were sitting on the porch, and I just had that like chord progression for the chorus, and it was like, again, super slow, soft ballad sort of deal thing, and you know how I typically start songs off. And then we just, second we got back to Oregon, we were like, you know, we all felt California, we were all there, we had a good time, you know, like, let's write this song like that. And you know, that's essentially how it came to be.
Yeah. So one song you have Guide Me, and that's a song you were worrying your mother a bit. Tell me, was she kind of always supportive? Was she kind of nervous about you kind of getting out there on the road playing music live? Tell me about that experience.
Yeah, I wrote that song because I I have this like weird habit where it's like I'm really bad at calling my family, you know. And so she'd always try to call me and be like, "What's going on? Like, tell me what's going on." And I'd just be like, "I'm good, like nothing new." In reality, like I'd have so much to say, but I wouldn't say it until like I saw her in person. Um, and that song was my way of like, writing something, being like, "Look, I know I don't tell you anything, and I know things have been tough for me, or like this, you know of things going on." I was just like, "I'm good, like everything's great, like um, I know you're still there for me," and that it was basically my way of communicating in in a very passive and non-confrontational way.
And what does she think of the song?
She loves it. Yeah, she said it was her favorite. Well, she first listened to it and she was like, "Man, I hope that's about me and it's not like some like completely different type of song." And I was like, "No, it is about you, like I wrote that for you." And then she was like, "Okay, I love that song then." I was like, "Okay, good, good." I don't
Yeah.
know if you got the message from it because I didn't tell her specifically, but I guess she'll have to wait till she sees one of these interviews.
She'll find out. Give her. Did I mean? And your parents have just been supportive all the way through. Like, I mean, they're good with you kind of going this route.
Yeah, I mean, other than my dad being pissed that I'm not making enough money, like it's
Never
pretty.
make enough to please them, So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, he's always telling me, he's like, like you always telling us and complaining about money, but it's like you're doing music, like you could be, working this job. I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. Like, I'm fine being broke if it means I can do this. Um,
yeah.
but they have been supportive. I mean, my mom did that through like post college. She was in a touring band, like did world tours and stuff, and she was like, that was her whole MO. And she's always come to me being like, "I just like this is what it's like if this is a path you want to go down, like, you know just know what like the industry is." um and then my dad, on the other hand, doesn't have that experience, so he's all like, "You should do this, or like this, or like it should be easy to do this, or like talk to your," and he's always shooting me, he's always texting me ideas late at night of like a song I should write or something I should say or do online, and I'm like, what is that?
Where's that coming from? Yeah.
Mhm, mhm. It's super funny. Meanwhile,
Yeah.
my mom's super realistic. She's like, "Did you see this in the contract?" Or like, "Get a tour manager," or like all this stuff, or
Paying attention to the details. Yeah.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
Do they come to your live shows too?
They actually just saw my first time they saw me live was at the Mint in LA a few months ago. Right before it was actually our album release show. They came out, they flew out, and then, were pretty impressed. My sister had only seen me like in Sacramento. Actually, we played Goldfields, and that was her first
Yeah.
time seeing us too. Like, I didn't realize that my family hadn't really seen me live until then. Like, they came up to me, they're like, "That was really good. Like, we've never seen that." And I was like, "What do you mean you've never seen that? Like, I've been doing it for 4 years now." Like,
Didn't get an invite,
mhm,
So
mhm.
yeah, you mentioned your sister. Is she musical? Do you have any other siblings that are musical too? Or
Oh yeah, I got a little sister, and she runs circles around me in song, dance, and all that. That's partly the reason why I had to, focus on songwriting and playing guitar. I'm the only one in my family that plays an instrument, so that's why I wanted to start, because my mom and my sister can like sing like crazy. They're just hecka talented with that, and I do not have that same ability. I had to like make my voice unique and stuff just to to stand out. But yeah, I'm hoping that because I'm the only one that knows, like, has an instrument, or the only songwriter, or not the only songwriter, but um the main songwriter in the family, that I can probably like finesse a little like Phineas and Billie Eilish type situation.
here you go. Yeah, and make some music with your sister, right? So
Mhm,
yeah,
mhm.
it could take off. Ride those coattails.
Yeah, exactly.
And I understand you tried other genres, like you tried rap and other things, but it just didn't click. It just always had to be rock for you, right?
Yeah, no, it's just it wouldn't work. I started out making like folk music, like Bob Dylan stuff, and I was like, I'm not too good at that. Like, my lyrics sound too Jimi Hendrixy, and sometimes it doesn't. I'm more Bob Dylan in the sense that like I'm not making sense more so than his his good lyrics, but not that his lyrics are bad, but yeah. And then I tried rap for a bit. I can't rap. I can't rap for the life of me. It was like during the SoundCloud era. I made like a fake pseudonym and like tried that in my bedroom, and I was like, it's
What
not
was it? What was the pseudonym?
I so one was Little Blue, and that
Okay.
was I don't even know if I can say the other one. It's just embarrassing. Maybe one day I'll say it, but
Holding it.
yeah, I'm holding it for now. Yeah, I still release some projects on that, so I can't have anybody know that that's me.
It's
Um,
secret stuff. The secret stuff goes there. Yeah.
yeah, secret stuff goes there. That's where I'm really trying some new stuff that nobody should hear. It's just embarrassing. Um, but yeah, I tried all that for a while, and then I realized I was like, I should just make the music that comes naturally to me. Like, why force anything else?
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense. Tell me about the tarot reading in Sedona, Arizona.
Oh wow. Okay, so you did your research, is what I'm what I'm hearing. Um, yeah, that was wild. We pulled up in Sedona, and Danny and I got two separate tarot readings at the same time, and didn't say anything to anybody in this crystal shop. Like we just rolled up. We didn't. I don't even think we like really pulled up together. Like it wasn't like obvious that we were together. Um, and I go to my tarot reader, and she reads out my cards, and she was like, "Oh, thank God." And I was like, "What? Like, what's going on?" She's like, "This is just the best reading I've had today. Like, I'm so excited. Thank you, thank you." And I was like, "What?" Like, okay, like,
Like I didn't do anything, right?
yeah. And she was like, "Okay, yada yada yada. Like, you're good." She was like, "There is like some like negative energies trying to come after you, but as long as you stay strong and you stay confident, like you can do whatever you set your mind to." And like, and then she knew it was music, and I was like, okay, that was weird. Like, how did she know I did music at all? And then I leave my reading, and Danny comes out, and she's like, wow, dude, like I just had the craziest reading. Like my tarot reader said that all four of us have been in alternate lives with each other, and this is like she was like, this is our fourth iteration or something, and we were meant to find each other in this world, and it was like this whole thing. And she was like, and there's a fifth member, and it might be a cat. And what's funny about that is I have like my cat Mo, I've had for like 4 years now, and he's like the he's a character, you know what I mean? And he's a little bit of our mascot. So we heard that, and we are like, wow, this is just that's weird timing. And she also knew that we were a band as well, like called that out.
Wow.
Yeah, I almost feel like they had a pager under the table or something. I'm like, how are they?
How are you finding that? Yeah, yeah. Have you had that sort of thing before, like a tarot reading? Kind of, have you done that sort of thing, or is that the
Yeah, that was the first time I had like gone to a shop and done it, but I had done tarot readings with like friends and like people who like just like would do it for fun, and I'd always get the same thing. And that's why I was like, I have to go to an actual shop in Sedona, and see if I get a similar thing as well. And I did. Like it's always the same reading.
Yeah, that's really crazy. So you have your first co-headlining tour coming up. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yes, sir. We're touring with Noah Vaughn. Super excited. It's gonna be a national tour, like month and a half. And I am gonna be so tired when it's over.
It's a big one. You start in middle of the country. You're coming
Mhm.
out west, and then you're going east, right?
Going
So
east, and yeah, it's like a whole thing. But it's gonna be fun. I'm just excited to travel and just be on the road. Like there's there's such like a simplicity to being on tour. Like you're like, okay, all I have to do today is drive here, see a new place, play my music, sleep, keep driving. And it's like um the stress kind of goes away, and I'm really stoked to just be able to share that with another band as well, and share that with my band members, and just be able to, see a bunch of places that I never thought I would be going to. Like we're going to the Jersey Shores. I'm stoked on that, all over Texas. And then this place in California I'd never even heard of, like Solvang. I didn't
Okay.
know, but that's near Santa Barbara, and I had never heard of it. I looked up pictures, and it looks like this like old German type town, and I was like, "What's going on here?" Like
Mm.
I'm stoked though.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's one of the cool things. Just so you have some ideas of things you want to do along the way, right? Like places you want to
Yeah,
stop.
definitely. If we are able to stop in Sedona again, I do want to do that. If I hope I have to go over the world again. I do Stone. Like there are things I didn't see the last 4 times I crossed the country that I definitely want to see this time. But I feel like stops like that are just so important, just like big morale boosts.
Yeah. Do you have a tour manager? Did you take your mom's advice? And
Yeah, got a tour manager. I'm actually meeting them this week and I'm super stoked on that. That's gonna be fun. Um, it's gonna be interesting. I hope that they're traveling with us though, and that means that I don't have to drive 17 hours in one day.
like, did you already get designated? Are you the typical driver, or do
I'm
you get to?
typically, yeah, like I bought the band van, so it was my car, and I was like, I'll just drive it. Danny and Dakota have never touched the wheel of that thing. It's just Rex and I, like for hours. And it's brutal because we drove from Albuquerque, New Mexico to San Francisco in one night.
Uh,
Yeah, like
you,
that the Albuquerque stretch, we stopped in California City because I had heard of California City. I heard it was weird, and I was like, "There's a Best Western there. We can just stay there. It'll be fine." But that room was like nearly $400, and I was like,
oh,
four
yeah,
hundred
no.
dollars to be in the middle of nowhere? Like, no, I'm not doing that. So we were like, I was like, let's just drive to my parents' house. Like, Rex, we can do it. Like, go in there, buy 6 Red Bulls. We're getting there tonight. And we made it like 17 hours, just long haul trucking.
That is nuts. Yeah, six Red Bulls is a lot cheaper than a $400 hotel room, but you,
Yeah.
you got to break up the drivers. You can't do that whole thing by yourself.
Dude. Yeah, we would switch. Like, I'd give Rex like 2 or 3 hours, and then I'd take 4, and then give him 2 hours again.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I'm at the point in my life where I'm like, even driving home after a concert, I'm like, I take a Monster with me, but
Mm.
most of the time I won't drink it, but just having it there to make sure I'm good
It
is.
makes you feel like, yeah.
I got 2 kids. I'm older and I've had those days, and it's just I need to make sure I get home if I'm driving, going to a concert, So, but I can't
100%.
do 17 hours. I can't do that.
I am like surprised that we did it in general too. Like it's kind of the same energy we had for going to South by Southwest. We are like, we can make it there in a day. It's a 13-hour drive. And Rex
Yeah.
and I were like, oh, easy. Like, we've done 17 hours. Like it can't be worse than that. So, yeah. Like it's gonna be brutal for the other band that we're going on tour with because we're sharing a van.
Oh,
Um
really?
Yeah, like me and Rex's like mentality is gonna be like, oh, 10-hour drive, like we can make that in half the day. Like it's perfect.
But you're like, what are we doing here?
Mm. Feel like if we wake up at 5, we could get there at 5 p.m. and have enough time to hit a bar before bed.
Right? Do you listen to music? You listen to podcasts? What helps you get through?
Yeah, we started listening to podcasts because music is great, and then like at a certain point, it's just like holy crap! Like I
Yeah.
have like a 24-hour long playlist, or actually no, it's 134 hours, and I still was like getting bored with everything that was coming on. So we had a hard time finding podcasts. Like the first podcasts that pop up are obviously like the serial, like all those like true crime ones, and I just for a while we'd be driving for like 8 hours listening to that, and I was like, why do I feel sick to my stomach? Like what is
You
going on right now?
you gotta break them up. You can't binge
Yeah,
that stuff,
yeah,
like it's
we
like
were, we were binge, like it would be 9 hours of that, and I was like, I feel like I gotta puke. Like Rex, take the wheel. Like what's going on? And then I realized it was like, oh, because I'm listening to horrible stuff coming out of this podcast. So we started doing like it would be either like vanilla conspiracy, like cryptid conspiracy stuff, like oh Bigfoot, you know, and that was like that was palatable. Like it would be interesting and a little dark, but it would be like, you know, nothing horrible and real is happening here. You
Yeah,
know.
yeah. It's important to break that stuff up. I'll tell you, like after I got divorced, I started binging Breaking Bad,
Mhm.
and that's not what you wanted, you
No,
know. Like I'm like,
Breaking
you're
Bad.
already,
You leave the house and you're like,
yeah,
there's some ways I can make money right now.
I know. I'm like, you know, you're already in a dark spot, and it's the greatest TV show of all time in my opinion. But you gotta in
Yeah,
doses, you know, like you gotta split
you
it up.
definitely got to split that up. Yeah.
Yeah, comedy podcasts. I listen to a lot of comedy ones.
Oh yeah,
So
I love some stand-up comedy podcasts, but sometimes sometimes there's months where I just cannot find something that I want to listen to. But
yeah, yeah, a lot of stuff out there. Um, yeah, well, so as we're kind of looking forward, do you have you been writing other music for kind of a next album? What does that look like for you?
yeah, we're actually writing we're trying to do this project before tour. I don't know like how much I can speak on it or if, you know, like anything like that, but we're working on some stuff. I got so much music and I'm just waiting for the label to let me pull trigger on it. But I'm still writing. I feel like tour is gonna help with writing a lot. It's just gonna like, you know, give me a lot of inspiration, similar to Believe in Love.
Yeah, yeah. You think you'll be able to track down Lenny for to produce it?
I think I might hopefully after tour I'll have a couple bucks in my pocket and I can fly to the Bahamas and try to track him down. Yeah.
Lenny, we got to get you producing this stuff, so
Mhm,
we'll
mhm.
make it happen. So.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, no, that's great. And um, a couple of other quick things I wanted to kind of call out. You made a video that was like Always Sunny. Are you a big Sunny fan?
Oh yeah, my bandmates love Always Sunny. Like I didn't get what the joke was at first. I
You
was
didn't
like,
get it?
I was like, what is this? Like, what are you supposed to do? But I watch it sometimes with them. If it's already on, I'll watch it. And I know it's a good show. I just it's kind of like Parks and Rec where I've watched The Office and I want to get into Parks and Rec, but I'm like, that's a lot of show to dedicate my life to. Like it's gonna end up like you and Breaking Bad where I'm just binging it for too long.
It is, but at least with a comedy, if you're binging it, you know, you're not in a dark spot usually, you know,
Yeah,
really.
exactly.
So
I'll start saying like all their inside jokes though, and I just pray that somebody understands the reference randomly, you know.
that's a great thing about the streaming service. This stuff holds up and it doesn't go away anymore now, you know.
Mhm.
So like people, you know, people will get the references here and there. So
And I
yeah.
know at least the parents will.
Exactly, and that's what matters. These are people you're spending all day and night driving and everything with. You guys
Yeah,
can pass that time together, right? So,
definitely.
and never ending story fan.
I love Never Ending Story. Yeah, yeah.
Which
My dad made me watch that about 400 times.
I put it on my kids too. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's a great one. And this number two is awesome also.
I
For
honestly I love number two more than number one for some reason. I remember number two more. I don't know why that is.
yeah, they did some recasting and everything, and you just put that aside, and you
Yeah,
know,
you try
and
to ignore that.
yeah, exactly. Wait, who's fashion now? And there's different. This person's a different, and you know, and all that. But no, it's yeah, both really great stories, and I love it. I grew up on it, so
Yeah.
it's good. Yeah. Well, Rain, I want to thank you for taking the time. I appreciate it, and I wish you luck out there on the road and playing
Thank you.
all the songs and with the new mystery project that you're working on. So.
It's very hush hush. Hush hush,
Very,
but on the record.
exactly right. Right. Well, thanks, Rainey. I hope you have a great rest of your day ahead. Okay.
Yeah, you too. Thanks for talking to me.
That was the interview with Bluphoria here on Concert Pipeline. And that takes us to the final segment of the program, the music news. All right. First story up is going to, I want to talk about the Mare Island Dock Bay Festival because that's a festival that we're going to be covering here on Concert Pipeline. in just a couple of weeks. So let me tell you a little bit about it. Saturday, September 9th and Sunday, September 10th. On that Saturday, Morris Day and The Time are playing, and Confunk Sean, Average White Band, and Cold Blood with Lydia Pence are the four bands that are playing. And then on Sunday the 10th, the California Honey Drops, Fantastic Negrito, Monophonics, and the Altons are playing. So it's an old school funk fest, and it takes place in Vallejo, out on the right on the bay, which is pretty cool. I don't know if this is the first year of this festival or not, but it's definitely the first time I'm covering it. So it's tagged as a memorable experience where attendees can explore the waterfront, promenade, and historic coal sheds while listening to the headline bands of the main stage and enjoy acoustic music in the Chef de Cuisine food court. While enjoying the music, guests can take in the amazing views of the Vallejo Marina and the Napa River. We're excited to expand the festival to 2 days and have upgraded a number of the festival amenities to better serve all attendees. So full service cocktail lounge, many specialty cocktails and spirits to choose from. There's microbrews, domestic beers, lots of exciting stuff. There's ferry service from the San Francisco Bay also. And this is the third annual. So it's pretty cool. Starts at 12:30 and the main stage ends at 9:30, which is a full day of music and hanging, which should be pretty fun. So planning on checking that out and covering that for Concert Pipeline here again in next month. That is coming up pretty soon. So let's talk about Guns N' Roses. They have a new song called Perhaps that accidentally leaked via digital jukeboxes in bars. That's the way music leaks now, is jukeboxes in bars. Okay. So it's a re-recorded Chinese Democracy era track, which I'll just say Chinese Democracy isn't the highlight point of Guns N' Roses. I mean, Axl wasn't even with the rest of the main lineup of the band at that time, really. There were other people in place. And Touch Tunes machines, excuse me, I guess were the cause of this. So let's see here. Oh, we're doing that. Okay. Yeah. Let's see. Guns N' Roses song leak. Rolling Stone decided to take away the article and not let me read it. So I'm going to go to Consequence. We're going to do that right now. So it had been slated to officially unveil Friday, August 11th, as pre-save information was briefly posted last week for Spotify and Apple Music. That info was taken down, signaling a delay in the release. While it didn't make it onto those streaming services, it did become playable on TouchTunes machines, where it appeared along with its single artwork. So, like Guns N' Roses' other recent songs, Hard School and Absurd, perhaps is not entirely new. It's a rough demo version made its way onto YouTube a while back, and Guns N' Roses sound checked it before showing Israel earlier this year. So it's been heard a couple of times, and apparently Robin Fink and or Brian May played guitar on the demo, and audio recordings of the jukebox leak have been posted online, but quickly removed by Universal Music. They're not letting it get out there. They're trying to control the leak, right? Fans can catch Guns N' Roses on their recently launched 2023 North American tour, which runs until mid-October. So Universal, I will tell you, is quick to block Guns N' Roses stuff. As someone who's had that done to them, when I recorded concert footage of Guns N' Roses playing with Dave Grohl, bringing out Dave Grohl at Bottle Rock a couple years back, I got the most views on any video I've ever gotten through that. It went viral. Rolling Stone picked it up, and then Universal took it down, and I got a flag on my YouTube account, which is a hand slap. You only get 3 hand slaps though before they delete your account. So Universal wasn't messing around, right? They meant business and didn't want any part of me having that video, which is a video that I shot fair and square. But apparently they feel like they own the rights to it. So that's how that goes. Next story, Elon Musk's X is to auction off Twitter essential albums, instruments, and more. pretty much Twitter selling all their shit, and you can buy it. They need some money, and they're not ashamed. So you can buy. They recently rebranded themselves to X, right? So they're not called Twitter anymore. But the website is still twitter.com because I'm assuming they couldn't get x.com. As part of the platform's new remodel, an online auction dubbed Twitter rebranding, online auction featuring memorabilia, art, office assets, and more. You can buy their staplers if it has a fucking bird on it, right? It'll be auctioning off all the furniture, lights, and numerous guitars, drum sets, amps, keyboards, and other musical gear that the company's headquarters homed. And that's set to commence September 12th. Music fans also have the chance to bid on the office's record player that comes with a collection of 24 records dubbed the Twitter Essentials. So and that includes David Bowie, Tom Petty, Marvin Gaye, Janet Jackson, Michael Jackson, ABBA, Pink Floyd, John Lennon, Nirvana, Elton John, Prince, the Bee Gees, Madonna, and Fleetwood Mac. As well as a couple of others as well. So there's things with Twitter logo lights, Twitter signs, and a Twitter bird-shaped coffee table there. And they did hold an auction earlier this year in preparation for the rebranding, apparently. So Mark Hamill for Luke Skywalker called for Twitter users to boycott the site because of the rebranding. I don't know. It's all a mess over there. I'm staying far away. I'm not using Twitter. You're not going to see me. I do have a Twitter account. I haven't gone and deleted it or anything, but I'm not interested. I try to stay away from social media as much as possible, and I don't need Twitter. Okay. Charlie Day from Always Sunny in Philadelphia performed The Nightman Cometh, Dayman with Portugal the Man. The Portugal the Man have performed the It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia track over 100 times since 2013. I actually saw them do it at Bottle Rock and didn't remember that until reading this right now. I saw them do it at Bottle Rock a couple of years ago when they played. And so Charlie Day decided to join them on stage to play it. And this happened on August 6th. They at the Hollywood Bowl. He performed a song that he had created for the hit TV series, and the crowds sang along, of course. And I think Weird Al performed at that same show. He came out and played with Portugal the Man as well. When in Hollywood, you're going to get some extra folks in your set, right? That's pretty cool. So I don't know that they've ever performed it with Charlie Day before, but or if they've just performed it, but I think fans were pretty excited. Okay. And I mentioned Foo Fighters, covered the Foo Fighters show from before. The next show after the Lake Tahoe show, they teamed up with Michael Bublé. This is at Outside Lands for Haven't Met You Yet. And in a very Dave Grohl way, have a funny way that they did that. So Dave Grohl had been calling up fans to sing the track during this track Haven't Met You Yet during drummer John Frisch's melody section on tour, which showcases all the previous bands and artists he's played with, including Bublé. And during the band's set at Outside Lands Festival, Grohl called up a super fan who was holding an I Love Bublé sign. He says, "This motherfucker better know the song." He joked. Bublé got up on stage and sang the song with the band. There's footage of it, of course, online. And then Dave Grohl said, "Oh my God, it's Michael Bublé!" Before adding, "We've been doing this thing where people from the audience come up and say, 'I know that fucking song,' and they walk up and they know the first verse. They don't know it. So this badass motherfucker, and I'm not even kidding, flew in today from Argentina to fucking sing that song to you guys, because there's no such thing as taking a joke too far." So that is the Foo Fighters. And I'm not sure if I mentioned it last week on Concert Pipeline, but Shane Hawkins, son of late drummer Taylor Hawkins, he took the stage with Chevy Metal for a couple of gigs in California last week as well. Rocked the fucking joint off from the videos and pictures that I saw, which is really awesome. I think I did talk about that last week, so no need to cover that again. So that is our episode for today. So thank you for tuning in. And next week on the program, we have Tom Heyman. And I'm interviewing Tom Heyman. He's from San Francisco also, so not too far away. And look forward to that chat. We'll be bringing that to you next time here on Concert Pipeline. We're going to close out with one more song from the Foo Fighters set, which I don't remember much of. And we're going to close out with the Foo Fighters' Big Me. For all of us here at Concert Pipeline, I'm Steve Jones. We'll catch you next time.
This is a little one we wrote in the basement 28 years ago. For all of you fans of the first record, it's called Big Me. When I talk about it, carries on, reasons only new. When I talk about it, Aries on, treason's all renew. Big me to talk about it, I could stand to prove. If we can get around it, I know that it's true. Well, I talked about it, put it on, never was it true. But it's you I fell into. When I talk about it, carries on, reasons only new. When I talk about it, Aries on, treason's all new. Big me to talk about it, I could stand to prove. If we could get around it, I know that it's true. Well, I talked about it, put it on, never was it true. But it's you I fell into. Well, I talked about it, put it on, never was it true. But it's you I fell into. I fell into.